You can come up however you'd like, and then inhale to reach the arms up toward the ceiling, and exhale to bring the arms down. And then just repeat that a couple of times. So you're inhaling, reaching up, any way you want to do it, and exhale, bringing arms down. Good. And then let's leave the arms down and just notice how you feel through your feet and ankles. So this idea, we use it, and you might hear it a lot in yoga and other types of things, of feeling grounded, right? So what does that even mean, right? Just feeling stable through your feet and ankles, but it can also be more of a mental state too, right? Feeling grounded and present in where you are versus all over the place. So just noticing for yourself where you feel, how you feel today. And do you feel grounded? Do you feel not so grounded? No judgment on it at all. And then let's try to feel a little bit of our umbrella breath even here. It's a little harder in standing to feel it. So just noticing, can you get this sensation of opening up? And then on the exhale, ribs coming in. Good. All right, and now you might want to hold on to your chair. We're just going to stretch the top of the ankle and foot again. Okay, so we'll place the top of one of your feet down, and some people tend to cramp in their feet when they do this. So if you get a cramp, just walk around a little bit. So same idea as what we did in child's pose, but you don't have to have it. You can do this with knee issues. You can be standing up. And you're going to put just the amount of pressure that is right for your foot and your ankle. And if it's really hard to tolerate, you can always roll it around so it gets a little break. Okay, let's take 2 more breaths there. And 1 more breath. Good. And then just step back on that foot. Notice the 2 sides. Follow your breath in and out. And then let's do the second side. This is another good one for fallen arches. Just getting this mobility in your plantar flexion can help. Good. And now if you want to, you can leave the chair at your side, or it could go in front of you. Let's look down at the feet and see if they're pointing forward. A lot of times we tend to stand with our feet slightly out. So if you can bring them forward and see if that feels okay in your body. And then we'll just do our heel rock. So just inhale, lift up. So now we've got a little bit of plantar flexion happening here too. And exhale will come down and dorsiflex. That's where the toes pull back and the whole ankle does. And just try that a few times. Notice if your 2 feet feel, or your 2 ankles feel differently. Good. And then just pause. All right, let's walk to the back of your space. It actually doesn't need to be perfectly anywhere. You just need some space ahead of you, okay? And where you can still see me, I guess. And all we're gonna do, this is not a very complicated thing, but it does work with a little bit of agility and also hamstring mobility. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to inhale, reach one heel forward and bend the opposite knee. And then I'm going to exhale, sweep downward a little bit with the arms. And then I'm going to inhale, come up, step the other heel forward. So what it looks like is one knee's bent, the other straight. Exhale, swooping down. Good. And I'm just going to keep going. Now, if it hurts to bend that back knee as you do this, if that's a little too much knees over toes for your knee right now, then bend it less, okay? So it might look like, barely bending. And it doesn't matter how far you come down. And when you get to like the further spot, like I'm about to hit the wall, you could always just turn around. Remember your neck. A lot of people have sore necks. We don't need to be reaching the neck forward. You can be looking down towards your foot as you go for your lean. And notice if you're holding your breath at all. Good. All right. Next time you come up, we're going to just stand for a moment and take the feet about shoulders width and simply hula hoop the hips around. Your knees could be a little bent. And then reverse directions. All right. And now let's get the chair or the wall could be used also just in front of you. You may or may not need to use it. It just kind of depends on what you want for stability. And all we're going to do is another simple thing. Well, maybe it's not so simple. It's not very, there's not too much to it. It's just going to seem like stepping. So what I'm going to do, and you guys have done this with me before, those that are here live, what I'm going to do is step my right foot forward. I'm going to go heel, and notice I'm letting my back knee bend a little bit. Heel, ball of pinky toe, ball of big toe. So I'm just going slowly. And then all I'm doing here, my back knee bends and I'm just bending up the toes. You see that I'm extending the toes. And then I'm going to lean back on my exhale, and it's a little bit of the same motion we just did. You could be holding the chair for stability. This knee can bend as much as feels okay. And then I'm going to inhale, come up, place the ball of pinky toe, ball of big toe, and extend the toes. And then exhale, go back into this back heel. Watch your neck, right? Look between the legs of your chair. I know the breath doesn't matter so much. Just let yourself be breathing continuously. So we're taking our feet through various motions that you need to be able to walk in. Walk in without getting weird injuries up the rest of your body. And just keep watching the neck. So don't put your chin up like this when you come forward. Just look down, right? So you're not constantly going into this neck extension. Now let's try when we come forward, I should say, and I roll over that foot. And see how I did that? So now my toenails are down. And I'm going to do the same thing, roll off the foot. And then go through the sequence with that front foot, roll over it. Okay, now next time that you come up, let's hold the chair if you're not already, and put this back toe on the floor. So we're not balancing, we are having to balance a little bit, but not full balance like we did last week. Okay, you're just gonna stand tall. Good. And lift up through the top of your head and release your shoulder blades down your back. It's almost like a ballet pose or something. You might let go. Good. And then just exhale. You can always bring your hands back if you've let go and step the other foot in. Okay. I'm going to do that whole thing on the other side. You might step a little back from your chair. For the first time, we step the left leg forward, heel, ball of pinky toe, ball of big toe, and we're extending the back toes. And then we lean back. You could always hold on to the chair as you bend the back knee and lift the ball of the foot off the floor. Good, and repeat. So you're still doing that sequence, which when we're walking, we don't think about it. But when we walk, the way our foot, kind of the natural gait is heel, ball of pinky, ball of big toe. And then sometimes we modify that because of injuries. You know, if one part of your foot hurts, you'll have avoided that. And just remember your neck, right? So looking down at the floor, and you're bending that back knee, so I'm not rounding through my spine. You don't even have to go down very far. Okay, now let's add in the rolling over the foot when you come up. Try a few of those. Okay, and then the next time we'll do our standing with just the toes down. So they don't have to be like the stretch at the top of the foot. It's more like just extending. You might lean a little bit to get them there and then lift up through the crown of your head. Feel your bottom leg supporting you. Good, and now stand, both feet next to one another. Let's swing and twist now, just coming away from our chair. Notice how your arms and shoulders feel. All right, and then coming back to just a neutral position and standing, and we're going to do a little bit of chest opening. So we'll inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, take the arms out to the sides and down towards your hips. Then inhale, see if you can roll the shoulder heads back and engage your glutes as you lift the chest a little. And exhale, release. And let's go again a few more times. Inhale, arms up. Exhale out to the sides, back and down. Inhale, rolling the shoulder heads back, lifting through your chest. And exhale, release. One more time. Good, and then notice how your arms feel. Notice how your shoulders feel. All right, we're going to need a line on the floor. It can be real or imaginary. If you happen to be using a yoga mat, you could use where the mat meets the floor. That's what I'm going to use. And if you don't have a yoga mat, you could use an imaginary line. You could use a line in like wood or tile or where the carpet meets the floor. And so what we're going to do, and I'll show you first, and I think you guys have done this with me before, at least some of you, is I'm going to place half my foot on one side of the line. So half my foot is getting the texture of my mat, and half the foot is getting the texture of the floor. And as I walk, I'm going to try to walk naturally, not with my arms out, but just moving as they would normally move, but lining up as though I'm on a tightrope. Okay? And I'm not going to look down at the floor. I'm going to look ahead instead of down at my feet, okay? You can look at the floor, but out ahead of you rather than hanging, all right? And once you get to the end of your line, you just walk backwards. And the key here, keep breathing, is to go slowly. Okay, so go very slowly. And try to let go of tension in your shoulders, your neck, or any place else you might be clenching. I know this looks simple, but it's often quite challenging for people. So if it feels challenging, that's totally normal. And then once you've done up and back or more than that on one side, just switch over if you're using a mat so the other half of your foot is on the different types of surface. And what this is good for is just it's proprioception, the awareness of where your body is in space and different types of surfaces and balancing in them helps to give your brain different information. So it just develops a richer landscape and brain map of your feet, your ankles, and how to balance on various surfaces. Notice if you're holding your breath at all. Good. And then once you finish, just coming back to stand on both feet. Wiggle some stuff out, just kind of shake things out. Oftentimes when people are trying to balance or do agility work, they get tense, so just kind of shake it out. Good. And then we'll inhale and interlace your hands, if you can, behind your back. So fingers, interlace your fingers. And then let's take them over, I'll mirror you. So why don't you take them to your left side waist. So I just kind of brought them still interlaced over to the side here. And then keeping your chest forward, can you now squeeze that left elbow back without turning your chest to the side, right? And if you get tense in the neck, just make some adjustments for yourself. Good. Now from here, you could add in leaning your head away from where your hands are clasped, so to the right. And then breathe, noticing if you can feel any expansion of your breath against your arm or against your hands. Soften your jaw. Good. And then slowly to come out, let's roll the chin down towards the chest if that feels okay. And then shift or switch. So now the hands come over to the right side waist. And you can bring your head back to center and squeeze that right elbow back, rolling the shoulder head back. Good. And then your head just comes into alignment. Good. And now if it feels okay, you could start to exhale, letting the head move down toward the left a little or a lot. Go gently. And taking some really wide inhales, experimenting with that, just noticing how that feels throughout your torso, against your arms or hands, and in your neck. Long exhales. Good. And then slowly to come out again, we'll exhale, perhaps rotating the chin down toward the chest in the center, releasing your arms at your sides, just kind of shake them out. And then you can use one of your hands to just gently lift your head up by pressing the hand into the forehead. Bringing it back to center. And then you might just take one palm to your forehead and one palm to the back of your head. Eyes open or closed, just noticing how that feels. Feeling your breath go in. If you like the shift and sensation that you have here, you can stay here, or you can also experiment with other places on your head to give a little squeeze or touch to. You can switch. Just noticing how your own touch affects the way you feel. You might even come onto your jaw, the back of your neck, your chest. Good. And again, just kind of shaking things out a bit. We're going to put our chair seats in front of us. And stand in front of the chair. Inhale as you reach your arms up. And exhale, hinge to fold, taking your hands to the seat of the chair. Let's stay here in somewhat of a neutral position in the spine. So say that when you do this, your back rounds like this. That's pretty common. What you can do is bend the knees a little bit and then scoot the hips back and up as though you were lifting your tail up toward the ceiling. And then move your shoulder blades down your back and just look at the chair seat. Good. And then feel the difference from where you are to if you take your weight onto the balls of your feet and then back to the heels. Good. And now let's walk the feet a little further so you can't see your toes under the seat of the chair. And look at your knees. Are they the same distance as your feet? Let's see what it feels like to have them the same distance as your feet. And bend the knees like a chair pose. That's right. Move shoulder blades down your back. Can you take your left hand to your left hip and just gently turn your chest slightly to the left? Good. And then exhale, both hands to chair. Look at your knees. Are they the same distance as your feet? And then right hand to right hip. Turn chest to the right. Keep breathing. Good. And then exhale back down, noticing the knees again. And now let's step the feet back, down dog. Stretching, stretching, stretching through your torso. Inhale, can you feel the width of your breath? And then as you exhale, you can bend the knees and see if you can place your hands down on the floor in order to help you lower your knees down. And you can do that however it works for you here. And then coming around onto your bottom,